All right, what's up? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Open Live Q&A. My name is Mr. McLogan, and this is week number 126. I was confused because I was like, why is nobody on? But then I realized I did a live stream on my regular channel, but it was not for the weekly live stream. So apologize for that. Now I got to go back into my channel and be like, crap, how do I delete that live stream? Because it was probably pretty awkward. Just me sitting there and like no idea what's going on. But I don't think anybody joined, so I think we're all right. But so it is past Memorial Day in United States, and what that means for most students around me is that summer has begun and school is kind of over. And I know for a lot of students are just kind of like getting to that point where maybe if you're not done with school yet, you maybe only have a couple more weeks left, or maybe you've been done with school for a couple of weeks, which is awesome. And now we're already kind of thinking about, what's going to be going on for the next year, or maybe you graduated and you're just moving on. By the way, congratulations if that is your case. But anyways, I just wanted to go back on and see if I can connect with that. It's going to be loaded, but I do have some math questions, and I know that some students, have questions throughout the summer that are going on that's, related to math or about, the upcoming year, which I'm always happy to be able to answer your questions. And that's what I'm going to be going live continuously throughout the summer to help you guys out with. I will also be releasing my pre-calculus course for you guys to go ahead and check out. For those of you that are taking pre-calculus, if you're kind of interested in, kind of like my notes and the way that I presented pre-calculus, then I'll have that available coming out through the summer, as well as a kind of getting ready for pre-calculus. And I'm hoping to also add in a getting ready for calculus and algebra 2 and maybe algebra 1 geometry. We'll kind of see how much time I really have. But a couple of those things that I think is really helpful, that it's not so much that I want you to be spending your time over the summer doing a lot of that stuff, but it's really that I know a lot of students sometimes, struggle within how the last year has gone. They're not sure if they're fully prepared for the upcoming year or what they're supposed to be expected. So that's why I always want to provide that extra instruction for you guys. And I will have some more videos coming up for you to help you out with that content, and also looking into some extra resources, as well as maybe some courses to help you guys out with. Well, I did delete my comment screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. Is your Discord or your website better for getting questions answered live? I submitted one to your website a few days ago. Zach, I will be going through all the questions just like I do each and every week. But yeah, so if you want your questions answered by me, I would recommend that you go to the brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and that's where I usually review those. However, I'm not going to answer every single question. I don't have the time or the capacity to do that. So, and also I only take questions on Sunday night at 9 p.m., which we're on right now. So if you have a question like during the week, or you need something more immediate, then I would definitely recommend that you check out the Discord server for kind of more immediate help. But I only answer questions once a week on my live stream. Well, hello, Natasha. Hello there. You say me a lot. Thank you so much. I'm having trouble with factoring a quadratic by grouping. Any chance you could show us an example? Yeah, I can make up an example, but I always don't like making up examples just because I'm not sure if it's if exactly what you need or help with. So if you do have maybe a problem that you could submit to me at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, it's in the description. It's also a pinned comment. Then I'm more than happy to kind of answer a question from there. If I remember as going through, I'll try to see if I can think of an equation, but I always hate like creating my own problems because I don't really know if they always are going to exactly help out exactly what you need or not. But I'll try to remember, but if you do have an example, if you can submit one, that'd be great. Math TSI, I do have no idea what Math TSI is. Sorry. Hi, Mr. McLogan. I finished school last Thursday. Awesome. I'm so happy. I can't believe it's summer. I really need to enjoy my summer. It's been a stressful year, and junior year is going to be hard as well. Yes, it is. And that's okay. You know what? What is the word? I'm trying to think of, it's like all the stress, all the struggles you're going through, like, it's okay. that's part of the journey, and it's making you tougher. It's making you stronger, right? It's not fun. It's not always easy, right? But keep on putting in the work, keep on doing things, and congratulations. I'm really proud that you were able to finish off the year. And just think about like your junior year. You're going to junior year, then you have senior year, right? There's a lot of great memories and a lot of good things that go in that are going to come from that. But yeah, there's a lot of tough work, right? And a lot of struggles you're going to have, and that's okay. That's a part of growing that you need to be able to overcome and work with. So congratulations for starting off the year, and I look forward to seeing your success. I would treat any sixth grade like, just think of the experiences and you got to sixth grade, just like seventh grade, which is just like eighth grade, which is just like ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. You got to look at the experiences and, like the learning new things, right? And it's not always just going to come with grades or like your, but look into, your friends, meet new friends and, learning from your, teachers and, the different, classes and trying to get a broad experience, just not saying like, oh, I only like this, so I'm just going to focus on that. I think trying to get a well-rounded experience is the best you can do the younger you are. Well, thank you so much. Kumala. That's interesting. I'm going to Geometry Honors next year. Any advice? Yes. Create a geometry notebook where you can just write down all the definitions and everything and review that every single time. Like I think having a geometry kind of notebook is essential. I have a math exam tomorrow. What should I focus on? Nothing. I have no idea what your math exam is on, but I think at this point you should really just kind of focus, calm down, and breathe, relax, and good night's rest. I think at this point in the time, this is the best thing that you can possibly do. So I just put on two little overlays for you guys. If you are interested in submitting a question, you guys can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, or you can also go and submit a question on my Discord server. What was your other one? I didn't see that. I'm joking. Okay. Please, I want to say, well, you're very welcome. Happy to help you out. Great question. I started balding, I think when I was in high school. Like, to be honest with you, it wasn't like apparent really, really bad, but I myself could tell I was balding. Like I kind of got that little bit of like that receding hairline going on. But I wasn't probably until, I don't know, I remember the first time I shaved my head. I'll never actually forget this. It was really weird. It was my sophomore year. And I was, living at the house, and I remember I was in this little passageway between our garage and our house. And I remember I shaved my head, and that was like the first time I'd shaved my head in probably, I don't know, like since I was like a sophomore, maybe in high school. And I never went back. That was it. Like I shaved my head once and I was like, yep, that's it. And I've been a shaved head ever since. I grew my hair back once for my cousin's wedding, just because I wanted to see what I would look like. And I remember it was actually very funny. I remember a good teacher friend of mine said, I was trying to grow out my hair, right? So it looked pretty bad, but I remember she was like, she just gave me a compliment. You looked really good when your head was shaved. And that was it. So after the wedding, I eventually shaved back my head and never went back. So yeah, it's been crap. Probably about good 13 years so far. I have a lot of videos on calculus, but yeah, I don't can a lot of calculus questions, at least on the live streams, but you can definitely check out my videos or check out the Discord server. And hey, Raph, or hopefully you are doing well tonight. Good to have you on. Well, congratulations, Tion. That is awesome. Congrats. Well, submit your question. I'll be happy to see what I can do to help you out. Wow, Dylan, I feel bad. All my daughters, they all had like a really balding when they were kids. So, yeah, hope they don't go bald like me, but it is what it is. Dangerous. I am an aeronautical engineering student, and I passed my Calc 1 and Calc 2. I find it so stressful, and I barely made it. And now I'm going to take differential calculus. Any suggestions? Yeah, I mean, you're doing everything right. I mean, you passed Calc 1, you passed Calc 2. Like, it's difficult. Like, that's not bad. That's not like there's something wrong with you. If you're having issues with that, I think you just got to keep on putting the work in, and keep on working. I would say maybe get some other students that can, that you can work with, and doing all that stuff. Like, life is going to keep on getting harder, and you're going to keep on getting different challenges. So, face those challenges and keep on putting in the hard work. Right? It's not always it's not just supposed to get easier as you keep on getting to more difficult, and upper level classes. Like, it's going to get harder, right? It's going to challenge you, and there's going to be times where you're going to get maybe a grade that you are like, holy crap, I've never got a grade this hard, or like this bad, or a class at this hard. And like, just keep on putting in the work, keep on focusing on ways you can get better. And I think you're doing everything you need to be doing right. How many questions do you think should a quiz have? Well, I don't know, but I will tell you what I did. On my pre-calculus, I tried to keep my quizzes to, let me see what I usually do. I usually give a quiz. I would do 4 free response and 5 multiple choice. That was usually what my quizzes were on. And so yeah. So roughly, like, I mean, it all depends. I mean, it depends on what you're teaching, like how fast you're going through there. But, I would say a quiz anywhere from like roughly around like 10, 10 questions. I mean, if you're doing like free response, multiple choice, like mixed in, around there, like where a test is going to be like between 20 and 30. Again, if you're doing like multiple choice or like free response. So it's all relative, depending on how much time you're giving. Like, sometimes, when I was teaching a 30, 45 or 55-minute class compared to a 90-minute class, like my quizzes were different compared to my tests, right? So, but I would say like, quiz 10, test 20 as like a broad generalization there. Tips for pre-calculus next year. I mean, I don't really have a general tip for one course over another. I think that, I think the main thing you're going to want to focus on, for pre-calculus is, making sure that you have a good foundation for the algebra 2. And I think if you do, then you're going to be okay. From that. But I mean, pre-calculus is usually going to be, it's a gap for students a lot. Like, they're not used to having a little bit upper level courses or math knowledge. So you're just have to, you're gonna have to put in the work, and just don't treat algebra 2. Don't treat pre-calculus like it's an algebra 2 class. Like, it's going to be more work. You're going to have to put in study time, study hours. Make sure you do all the work that your teacher asks, and like, go to your teacher, and say, hey, like, what are some recommendations next time first time you meet your teacher? Like, what can I do to be successful in your class? I love that question as a teacher. And I'd recommend all of you do it. Doesn't matter if it's pre-calculus or any class, like, go to your teacher and ask them, like, how can I be successful in your class? I think that's a great question you should ask. I heard that completing the square is useless in grade 12 functions. I don't know what grade 12 functions compares, but no, I mean, completing the square is not useless. I think completing the square is like very helpful. But again, like, completing the square is like a tool, right? So it helps you rewrite some equations. It does help you solve, but there's other techniques, right? There's other uses to, instead of always having to use a completing square. But it is a very helpful tool to be able to use. Kind of like pre-Livestream, some students like, oh, well, if I can solve all my questions using quadratic formula, like, do I really need to know factoring? And I was like, yes, you still should know factoring. Like, factoring is just not useful for solving quadratic equations, right? There's other tech, like factoring can be helpful for other many different problems. And the same thing completing square, like, it's just not useful for quadratics. So I would highly recommend that you still know it and just don't like say, oh, I don't need to know it for next year, or like I don't really need to know it for this chapter. It is a very helpful technique to be able to help you. And so I would still recommend that you understand and can be able to apply quadratic formula if it's relevant in grade 12 or not. I haven't been able to learn well. I've been struggling with quadratic relations and equations. Do you know websites to review so I can prepare next year? No, I don't really know what exactly you need help with, so it'd kind of be hard to give a question, nor do I. But if I will highly recommend if you go to my Discord server and post that question exactly in there, then there's students that are just like you that I'm sure will be able to recommend websites or videos that can be able to help you out. For all, I have no idea, but best of luck. Yes. So whenever you have something that's not with a coefficient, you need to factor that out or divide that out. Well, congratulations, spicy tomato. I love it. Use the DISC method. Well, yeah. As far as any of the calculus, I'm not going to be able to go through anything, but whenever you guys have math questions, we'll go ahead and post those at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. Okay, let's go there. Yes, I have a ton of trigonometric identity videos. If you just check my channel, there is a ton available for you. I think probably, to be honest with you, they probably just don't maybe have a good foundation of a lot of the Algebra 1 topics. But I mean, Algebra 2 is, it is Algebra 1 like on steroids, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't expect students that, can understand topics in Algebra 1 will still struggle with Algebra 2, like for sure. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you or anything bad. Like, typically if you're going through a typical progression of Algebra 1, geometry, and Algebra 2, you're going to forget some things, right? So, and then Algebra 2, just, it's like students that do good in Algebra 2, but then they take college algebra. Like college algebra is really the same thing as Algebra 2, but like more intensified, right? So, it just really challenges what you really know. And sometimes, you're not always tested to the extreme when you're taking quizzes or, tests in a certain class. So, taking that next class really just kind of challenges how well you really know something. I'm not familiar with grade 12 functions. I believe that's in the Canadian educational system. So I really have no idea, unfortunately. Sorry. Yeah, if you have a graph or an equation in particular, then just go and submit it to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at that. All right. Again, I have no idea on grade 12 functions, but if you want to submit maybe your syllabus, I would be like a syllabus for that. I'd be more than happy to maybe look it over. Or if you have a summer like exam or summer like program, then I'll be more than happy to maybe like work through that with you. So maybe something fun. So go ahead and shoot that over. Again, you can just submit it to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll be happy to take a look. All right, guys. Well, I am going to go ahead and take a look at the math questions we have. And actually, I did not have any time to go ahead and review them, so I'm just going to do them in real time with you guys. This is week 126. Can you guys believe it? Week 126. That is, wait a minute. Yeah, week 126. So, because I began the beginning of the year. That's crazy. Okay. All right. So let's go and get into some questions. This is all free. What what are some tips that you would help a student visualize any type of function on a Cartesian grid? I think just knowing your parent graphs. I mean, if you know the general parent graphs, then that is going to give you a good leg up as far as understanding what the graph would be, and then also understanding the transformations. Like you got to understand the transformations from there. Uh-oh, I'm running out of space. Crap. Oh my God, Ron, I literally just recorded a video, but I don't think it's going to be ready for you in time. And I like summer school. Just a disclaimer, I've never taken it. I've never taught it. I don't think summer school is a great idea if you're just trying to like advance yourself, like, or just trying to get caught up. I mean, it's fast and, um, you know, it's you it's fast and and it's like it's condensed, so you have to really be prepared and like really be good for it. I don't think it's just great for everybody and for every circumstance, so I'm not a big proponent of summer school. I would much rather you taking your time and just enjoying your summer, enjoying being your age that you're at, and take your time. Like, like I tell students all the time, like I took first time I took calculus was sophomore year of college. Right. And everybody's like, what? You're like, you're a math teacher. I'm like, yeah, I took it the first time I ever took calculus was sophomore year of college. So I wasn't in high school, never. Right. So, I mean, like, it's okay. Like, there's no rush. There's no race to like, I have to take this many classes like so fast. Right. Take your time, enjoy the process. Like you're going to be okay. You're getting like, once you get beyond a certain point, like nobody asked me what my GPA was. I had a good GPA, by the way. I was in National Honor Society and everything else. But it's like, I think we have such this big competition, which is great, which I don't have a problem with competition. But like, I think a lot of students kind of lose the focus on why they're doing things a lot of times just to compete with others. And so if you're just doing summer school to like get caught up or get past your, get an extra credit or blah, 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 just really kind of understand why you're doing it and what you need it for, because I don't want you to lose sight of the purpose of your schooling. All right, so let's go ahead and drop these. And then let's see. Oh, get some questions. All right. Like to individual. Okay, cool. All right, where's my pen? Cool. All right, sorry, I'm reading a question over on the side. So given, find and simplify. All right. Not sure what this student was asking, but I think this is something we can go and do. I'm not going to be able to do all of these for you, but I'll try to do my best. Yeah, so it's a lot. All right, so these, let's go ahead and do red. Okay, so these are about the same. I'm just going to go ahead and do C, and then I will do this one as well. So if I was going to do C, it says find and simplify. So we do f of 2 plus h. The student didn't clarify anything, so I'm just going to do these two. So therefore, I'll just plug in a 2 plus h in for the x, and then just go ahead and simplify. So we go ahead and distribute that. So sorry about that. That is going to become an 8h, or an 8 plus a 4h, and then minus. Now here, I'm going to go and expand that, so it's be a 4. That's going to be a 4h plus h squared, and then we can go and distribute that. So an 8 plus a 4h minus 4 minus 4h minus an h squared. All right, now let's go and combine our like terms. Those are going to add to 0, and that's going to give us a 4, positive 4, minus an h squared. All right. Determine the domain. So domain is right. Two things we want to focus on. You cannot. Oh, I forgot. I'm not sharing my screen. You're right. Thank you. Sorry about that. There you go. Okay. Probably should have checked on that. So yeah, this was a student question where it was just evaluating those. So plugging them in. Thank you so much for telling me, Divshika. Yes, I think so. That's a great question. Let me know your options. I think if you need to like retake a class, or if you haven't been to school in a while and you need like a refresher class, I think retaking a class or like a refresher class are a good idea. Or if you're like really strong in mathematics and you just want to take an extra course or like need an extra course, then for that guards. But if you're not like upper echelon like mathematics or in the need of getting a course, I just don't think it's like absolutely preferred. But not saying you can't take it, like that's just my recommendation, right? And I'm just a guy. So I think you can definitely, I would just, whenever someone's like, oh, I took calculus 1 over the summer, now I'm getting ready for calculus 2, like I usually just kind of hesitate because like I'm not sure if they have as well as a foundation for student that took it not through the summer. And that's for majority, but not necessarily all students. Okay, so let's go through the domain here. So when I wanted to find a domain where we cannot divide by 0, we cannot take the square root of a negative number. Well, so this one is not a square root, so that's going to be all real numbers. But this one is what you're going to want to do is go ahead and set the denominator. Come on. Set the denominator equal to 0. So 4t plus 12 is equal to 0. All right, so therefore t is going to equal a negative 4 when you go ahead and solve. So therefore my domain in interval notation is basically going to be all real numbers except, let's just go ahead and solve this actually. Why am I wasting my time? So subtract 12. So 3t is equal to a negative 12. Divide by 3. And then t is going to equal a negative 4. Okay, so the domain is all real numbers except for where negative 4 is. And that's going to be open circle, so that's undefined. So it's going to be cannot be there, and it's going to be equal to all the way there. So except for negative 4, it's going to be true for everything to the left and everything to the right in negative 4. So what we can do, we're writing the domain. We can write the domain here from negative infinity to negative 4, union negative 4, crap, to infinity. There you go. Well, awesome. Awesome, Aaron. So happy to help you out. That's awesome. If you do have a math question, you go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. It is in the description as well as pinned on the chat. But I'm probably not sure how many questions we're going to get to tonight. But I do have some questions that are already pre-submitted, so I'm going to get to those first. All right. Graphing an ellipse is not in standard form. You got to graph the ellipse. What? Oh, okay. All right. All right, so this student has, sorry, so let me take this question. All right, so when you're graphing an ellipse, the main thing you want to do is put it into the standard form, right? So the student says like, how do I graph the ellipse when it's not in standard form? Well, the main thing you're going to want to do is just put it into standard form. So the way to do that is standard form is going to be when it's equal to 1, right? So what you're going to want to do is get this equal to a 1. So I'm going to divide by a 16 on both sides. So therefore, I'll have an x squared over 16. This is not an ellipse, by the way. This is going to be a hyperbola. So that's going to be x squared divided by 16 minus a y squared over 4 over 16 is going to be 4 equals to 1. Okay, so this is going to be the standard form of a hyperbola. And the reason why it's a hyperbola is because you have the difference between your two terms. All right. So if you know the standard form of a hyperbola, that's going to be x squared over an a squared minus a y squared over b squared is equal to 1. Okay. So when we want to graph that, Remember, a squared represents our major vertice and b squared represents our covertices. So therefore, our a is going to equal a4 and our b is going to equal a2. The center is going to be 0, 0. So therefore, I can just graph this. And also, since the a is under my x, that's going to be a vertical transverse axis. So we're going to 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, now you don't really need to know the covertices, but I always like to do them for our asymptotes, right? Because if you recall, a hyperbola has asymptotes, right? So we're going to have our vertice. Here's our two vertices. Here's the center. And then these are going to be our covertices. So our vertex is going to look something like that. Not a very beautiful hyperbola, but hopefully you guys get it. Oh yes, absolutely. Teaching is a extreme art. The more years you teach, the better and better you get at it. And it's not something that can just easily be taught. It's not something that you can easily just go to school for and be like, oh, I'm a teacher, like I'm good to go. Teaching is definitely a art, and not all people are great teachers, right? People are great with students. People are great mathematicians, or like, and able to teach anything, but is definitely is a unique set of skills. All right. I'm having trouble writing an exponential equation shown on the graph. At brianmclogan.com/Q&A. It's just kind of difficult to post things on there. That's a good question, right? An exponential equation for the equation. That's a tough one. I would just say in this case, oh crap. Huh. Oh, that's not it. All right, let me try this again. Come on, calm down. Calm down. Over here. There you go. All right. So the student was asking me to write an equation for this graph. So, I mean, it's an exponential graph, right? So it looks like there's a point here, which could be the y-intercept. So I don't know if this is base E or like, I mean, I guess you could probably spend more time looking at the like different points. Like, look, there's another point here and another point there. I'm just going to go with a exponential equation and say like, oh, like the standard form of an exponential equation looks like this. Right? And with base E, it would be like e to the x. So if I'm going to move that point over 2 units, okay, so that's that 0, 1, then I could say y is equal to e to the x, what? Going 2 units to the left or to the right, sorry, so minus 2. Now, obviously, I see these points here, so I could probably use a different base, which maybe like base 2 would maybe work. Like it looks like 8, maybe that might be a good one, but I'll just go off for base 8, like you can say, like going off of those two, because I'm not sure exactly from these points. But let's maybe try like y equals 2, because if I did e to the 2 base to the x minus 2, 4, and if I did 5, yeah, that'd work. So I think that one works right there. It looks like it would be base 2 instead of base e. Okay. So the software screen sharing. So I use Notability, which I'd highly recommend. It's amazing. And then I have a Mac, so I use what do I use? I use Ecamm Live. So, but I mean, there's a lot of free software. Ecamm actually is a paid software, but that's because I connected with my YouTube. But you can use there's a lot of other free software. But I definitely recommend Notability, and then use a Wacom tablet. All right, let's get into the next one. So it's not specific, but for adding and subtracting polynomials, let's say when I'm doing vertical, easier to do for me, and it was 5x, but before it's a square and then it's 7x, what should I do? Should I mix and match? No, you should not mix and match. You only combine like terms. So if you don't have like terms, then just use a 0x squared. So I'm not sure if this is exactly what you're talking about here, but let's say you are subtracting polynomials. And let's say you have a 7x squared minus 5. And then here you're doing a 5x squared minus 3x plus 1, right? So again, like if you're supposed to subtract these, well, how do you do this? There's no x squared here, right? So what I would do is I would say, well, let's just rewrite this as 7x squared minus or plus, sorry, a 0x minus 5. What that's going to do is that's going to create a place value here. So therefore you can subtract everything vertically. So whenever you don't have a term, I'd always use a place value, and that's to help you match those up, because you always want to make sure you have something matched up. So if you don't have a term, this is gonna be helpful for like other points and polynomials, then use a place value, which would be 0x. All right. So there, I need math equations there. Completely befuddled. Well, that's always good. Factor by grouping. Okay, so this is called so they're using the AC method. And they're talking about graphing by grouping. So ax squared minus a 3x minus 5. Okay, so the way that the AC method works. So again, this is ax squared plus a bx plus c. Okay, so don't really care if it's like positive or negative. What you're going to do is you're going to multiply a times c. Okay, so 8 times negative 5 is a negative 40. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to have a b, which is your middle term, negative 3. Okay, so what you want to do is find what two numbers multiply to give you negative 40, add to give you negative 3. So hopefully you recognize that that is going to be what, a negative 8 and 5, right? Negative 8 and a positive 5, right? Those add up to negative 3, and those multiply to give you negative 40. Okay, so those are going to be your two middle terms. So you can write this as an 8x squared, a minus a 8x plus a 5x minus 5. Again, follow me, because what is 8x minus plus a 5x? Negative 3x. So all you're really doing is you're breaking up your middle term into two different numbers, this negative 8 and negative 5. Now what you can do is factor by grouping. So what they mean by that is factor out the common term for the first two terms and the second two terms. So what you can also use is use parentheses here to group them. Okay, so here you can factor out an 8x. So when I factor out an 8x, I'm left with an x minus 1. And here, when I factor out a positive 5, I'm left with an x minus 1. Okay, and to do factoring grouping the same, what you're going to do is you're going to get the same term here and here, right? If you don't, then obviously you factored by grouping incorrectly, or it wasn't able to be factored by grouping. So then I factor out the x minus 1, and I'm left with a 8x plus 5. Now, in your terms, looks like I could probably do, yeah, looks like you're like the final two answers from that case. So I kind of went a little bit farther for you, but hopefully that was still, oh, did I even post that for you? I didn't. Sorry about that. Let me go and post that answer, or let me post your question, just so I make sure I have it. It just takes a razor. That's it. That's all you need. come on. Seriously? There you go. Perfect. Okay. All right. We got that one going on. Go ahead and post to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll be more than happy to help you out by next week. But so happy to be able to help you out. But anyways, guys, I'm going to check out for tonight, but I will be back on next week. And if you guys have any questions or taking summer school or just are interested to hang out, I'll be here for you guys. All right. See you guys next week. Cheers.